Carnivorous plants. I'm sure that most of us imagine beautiful flowers or mighty trees when thinking about plants, something that doesn't move a lot, drinks water, and eats sunlight. But not all plants absorb just sunlight. Many species of plants mutated and decided to start eating for real, hungering for meat. It's thought that these mutations have occurred at least 6 times independently of one another in Earth's evolutionary history. The cause of this is thought to do with the dirt. As we know, plants need water and sunlight to survive, but they also need several resources from soil, one primary nutrient being nitrogen. Even though our atmosphere is primarily made of nitrogen, plants can't leach it from the air and instead get it from the ground. Like anything living, a major lack of nutrients is an extreme detriment to the species' survival. Plants like cactus have a solution. By storing their nutrients instead of growing quickly like most plants, they can survive times of drought. However, animals have lots of nutrients in them after all, as they eat all kinds of foods, most of which have everything these plants need. And so, suddenly insects and some small frogs are on the menu for these plants. Venus flytraps of course eat more than just flies, as they aren't picky eaters. What will happen is that a fly will land on their mouth, drawn in by the sweet nectar that it excretes. At this point, the fly can still fly away, but if it triggers 2 hairs in the mouth within the span of 20 seconds, then the plant will snap shut. Once a 3rd hair is disturbed, the digestion process begins. The more hairs that are triggered, the more digestive fluids are released in the mouth. Of course, the time it takes to digest differs for a number of factors, like how large the prey is, but a week is the average amount of time. The Venus flytrap is the most famous of carnivorous plants, but a few other very notable ones are the pitcher plants and the sundew plants. Pitcher plants are way more passive than other plants that share this hobby of casual murder. Like Venus flytraps, they attract prey by the scent of their nectar. The nectar comes out of its lip that is at the edge of its opening. This makes the plant slippery, causing prey to fall inside. Once they are inside, there are hairs facing inwards that prevent the victim from climbing back out, like a digestive pitfall trap. The digestion process is often visible from the outside, with the pitcher plant not being very thick at all. This might be somewhat disturbing to some people, as shadows are visible of an insect trying its hardest to escape before giving up and being digested. Pitcher plants often feed on ants as a primary food source. However, something interesting can happen when a pitcher plant is near an ant's nest. The ants start to use the pitcher plants to their advantage, forming a symbiotic relationship. They use the pitchers for waste disposal, as well as a food source, eating the nectar. Sundew work a little differently than the other 2 that I've mentioned. They resemble flower stalks with many tassels that have a sort of translucent liquid resembling water. This liquid is very sticky, so when prey land on the sundew, it gets stuck, with any attempts to escape only digging it deeper into its fate. When prey is sufficiently caught, it will retract, circling the victim, beginning the digestion process that can take several weeks. Like most things in biology, they can be traced back to Charles Darwin. He wrote a book amongst his many others called Insectivorous Plants. It was published in 1875, and given the time period, it wasn't taken well by the public, with claims saying that plants that can eat went against nature and God. Darwin was able to persuade many people by doing what all good scientists do, and that's test it. He focused primarily on a sundew plant and trialed different foods like cheese and insects. Fortunately, nowadays we have a much better understanding of how these plants function and can even be kept as houseplants. Side note, if you do have or plan to get a carnivorous plant, it wouldn't be a good idea to feed it cheese, as Darwin found out it'll just reject it. That's all I have on these plants for now. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a comment on something you'd like to see next. Take care.